What's so interesting about you, Tim, is that you are one of the most world-class educators and world-class aesthetic practitioners who've been doing fillers and Botox for you've had more than 25,000 cases for very long, longer than anyone like I know. And at the same time, you decided to do a very drastic shift of selling that aesthetic practice and opening a well-being longevity clinic. And I want to know from I want to know from you what triggered that transition. What made you do that shift and sell your aesthetic practice to opening a longevity practice, and even shift your academic material that you're educating doctors on. You were educating them more on aesthetics, and now you want to educate them on longevity. Where did that shift come from?
Well, there's quite a lot to it. The first thing is I've never given up my normal medicine, so I still see regular patients in my in part of the NHS. So I see a regular patient who'll come in off the street and say, I've got backache or whatever.
Wow.
And then I was also seeing my my aesthetic patients and seeing this very clearly very similar, hard to solve problems that are more around essentially what we're talking about. There's like a deeper philosophical problem with how people are living their lives, and they're trying their best, but they don't have the right kind of tools and guidance and essentially protocols of what it would boil down to. And I've always wanted to solve the deepest problem I can solve. In fact, when I first started aesthetics, the first thing I thought was, I don't actually want to do this if it's superficial. So I had to dig into like what's actually motivating people to come, what is the real struggle that they're going through, and then I've sometimes tell the story of my first patient was 92, and I remember thinking, I'm never going to make her look younger. What does she want from me? Like, am I going to fail in helping her? But she told me this beautiful story of how she felt like when she was on the bus, she wanted to talk to other people, but she looked grumpy. And if she could get rid of her frown lines, then she would be able to talk to more people. I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's a beautiful thing. I can help with that. And so I wanted to find a deeper purpose and solve the biggest problem that I can solve. Now, when you talk to many people in aesthetic practice or in general practice, the underlying problem is usually much bigger than a single tablet or a single injection. So that's what I love about the whole longevity and health side, is that if you actually apply these things deeply and properly and maintain them, you've actually got a completely new life philosophy, which is fundamentally a lot about human connection, because
Exactly.
a lot of the reasons people want to be healthy, and a lot of the reasons why we are sad when we're not healthy, is the disconnection that happens with people, the isolation. And a lot of the solutions are about doing the opposite of that. And you can actually start much sooner. And a lot of it is even free. A lot of the way I'm going to do the longevity side is more about free information for everyone. And then the clinic will make a small amount from some of the clinic-based protocols. But a lot of it is it's basically a healthier life philosophy
Exactly.
that everyone can incrementally add. And so I've also experienced in my own life, the big trigger for me was my mum's ill health. So she became very unwell with Parkinson's disease when she was 52. So that's only 7 years older than I am now. So it feels very close now. But I think that woke me up to that good things can happen to, so bad things can happen to good people for no reason. And that before that moment, I think I thought I would just be lucky and everything would be fine. And I think that made me realize that you have to try and take control. Like, change is coming. You want it to be the change that you want.
Exactly.
So that means learning about things, applying the science, and then building a lifestyle that is as sustainable and healthy and good for you as possible.
Exactly.
My mum was many beautiful things, but she wasn't particularly interested in. Well, she tried, to be fair, but she had a bad habit with drinking a lot of Coca-Cola and things like that. I could never stop her. And I don't know if you ever have this with your parents, but there's a stage where you just have to accept them
Yeah.
instead of change them.
Yes.
And I remember I made that decision. But for me, what I want to pass on to my children and pass on to as many other people is the many ways that you can love yourself by living healthily rather than living in a short-term way. Because I think it's very easy to feel better by having something that you don't that you enjoy, but it's not good for you. but I'm trying to make the switch with my children that they feel like they love themselves when they make good decisions that
That's
are.
so beautiful to think about it that way. I always tell, I always say we help patients feel better, not only look better. They need to feel better about themselves, and this can only happen with a strong connection between them and the doctor and the brand and the clinic and me and the whole entity, everyone that is here, part of the team of DAO. So it's about making them feel better. That is really the core. And in order for us to help make them feel better, we have to have that deep connection with them. We have to understand what is the underlying purpose behind their visit today to the clinic. It's not because they feel like their temples went down, or it's something more than that. Just like you said about the patient who was 92 years old, that she wanted to not make people feel like she was angry when she was not, or she was frowning when she was not. She just wanted to get by her day-to-day socializing with people, looking more relaxed in her features. So it's something more than just a superficial line that has appeared. It's tapping into that is so beautiful, and that I love so much about you. And I'm so grateful that there are people as amazing as yourself and as influential as yourself in the field now, that are really helping shift the mindset of the practitioners in the field from a more approach-based, technique-based for their injection techniques for the patient, to a more holistic and understanding that the patient is not just an anatomy that we need to dissect and understand in order for us to best treat with those tools, but he is a human, a mind, body, and soul, that we must dissect that to truly understand the higher purpose of their visit to us, so that we can properly and most precisely aid them and guide them in the right direction that they need to be guided to that light within.
What I'm currently teaching my 12-year-old about critical thinking, and Socrates you mentioned, and his Socratic method, which is very fun to ask about the underlying meaning of words and why, like, instead of taking something as face value. So let me ask you, well, you said you want to make your patients feel better, but why?
Because I want to make sure that through my clinic, I make a positive change on people's lives. I don't want to just have more patients that come and do treatments and numbers adding up, and that will not motivate me. Just like as you said, if aesthetics is something so superficial, I don't want it. I don't like superficial things either. So to me, a business with just numbers and profits and all that is superficial. It's not gonna give me the motivation that I need to have, that energy that I was telling you about, that I need to pass on to all my team. If it wasn't for a higher purpose, I will not have that same ambition. If it's just for financial, you'll never have that drive to really put in all your effort and to fight like a warrior. If it wasn't for a higher purpose, I literally like fight like a warrior. Like I look like I'm like soft and all, but the things that you have to face and go through in business, I'm sure you know, can be brutal. And I've been through a couple of very brutal events past few years, and in order for me to stand on my feet and continue to keep on going, it's because I have this higher power. It's a higher intention, a bigger dream. My intention is not just a business. I want to change people's lives. I want to fight for my team to keep on growing and to keep on influencing the people that I work with, to give out the best in them and to fulfill their greatest potential, because that's also part of my intention, not only for the patients, but also for my DAO family and team members, to unleash that within them. Because only when they unleash and they connect, can they help others connect with their within as well. So that purpose, that intention that I have for my team, for my patients, for my DAO family, whether it's the extended family or the close circle family, it has purpose that is higher than just numbers, which has to be like that. It has to have a higher purpose so you can keep on going. And
That's the key word, purpose. We did a recent business event, when you get your team together, and there was this system that we use, and this business advisor came and he produced at the end of it this list of things just a big to-do list. And then the next morning, they came on and explained to my team all the things I had to do this week, and I got cross. I was like, none of this matters. Like, this is just a big to-do list. Like, no one's mentioned why we're doing this. And then I'm like, stop this whole thing. I've got to
Yes,
explain why, because
exactly.
otherwise I don't feel motivated.
Exactly,
I don't.
exactly. I always, even in content, I'm looking at the girls right now because I always talk to them when we're creating content. We're not just creating content that goes viral and has likes and no, we want to create content with intention that will inspire others, that will leave a good a good touch on others, a good impression. It will change their mindset to it will enlighten, it will inspire, an inspirational content that is well thought through and that has the prior intention of it being that way, inspiring others. So it's always having that why in everything, even in marketing, in operations, in clinic, in everything, making the people understand the why behind what we do. It's not just because it's procedural or it's routine, or there has to be a why with a higher purpose. So we're all motivated and we have that energy required to make an impact, and when we come to proceed and implement, we implement with impact. It's when we have this strong intention behind it.